It feels like a cruel joke. Years before I met my husband, I was in such a toxic, abusive relationship that it almost ended my life. I spent years in therapy, bettering myself, figuring out why I accepted the type of love. I stayed single for years, and once I started dating, I made sure to keep an eye out on all red flags. Heck, I even took things slowly when there was nothing but green flags. Thanks to my ex, I was familiar with love bombing. I met my husband at work event, and things just fell into place. I opened up and explained my past trauma, and let him know that if we were going to date, that it would require a slow pace and patience. I won't say that he was perfect, but he was always kind, compassionate, and cared. We dated for about 5 years, engaged for 1 and married for a little over 3 years now. We recently bought our second home together. We both got promotions at work, so we sat down and talked about kids. He wanted a big family, and I only wanted 1 or 2. We agreed on 2, and started trying. It didn't take long, and here I am 6 months pregnant, still working, have swollen ankles and a back that won't stop aching. Other than that, I've been very happy and have what I thought was a supportive husband. 3 weeks ago, I found out that he was having an emotional affair, and honestly probably a physical one. When confronted with the evidence, he admitted to not being attracted to me while pregnant. I'm wrecked. I haven't gained unnecessary weight, I still take care of myself, even with the morning sickness that hasn't gone away. He's not sorry about it, but you told me that I was being overdramatic when I cried. He is staying with his family until he can find a home to rent. He doesn't want to get a divorce. He's saying after the pregnancy is over we can go to therapy and fix things. I don't want to. I cannot physically look this man in the eye anymore without feeling disgust. I have a text from him saying that he's my only option, because no man wants to date a single mom. I'll be talking to a lawyer and figuring out how to divorce him. I just wanted to vent into the void today. For now, I'm going to DoorDash some nuggets and a Frosty from Wendy's and be okay if I gain 5 pounds from it. Thanks for listening. Well, reading, I suppose. Update 1. I was told I'm not allowed to change the locks due to it being his home as well, and he came over last night knowing there wasn't crap I could do to prevent it. Thankfully, he only grabbed some personal belongings, threatened to take the dogs, he did not, and let me know he emptied our shared account. Part of me rolled my eyes and figured he wasn't dumb enough to do that, and the other part made me make a mental note to check it once he left. Sure enough, our account has maybe $5 in it. He did a transfer, which I'll be calling the bank about and speaking to an attorney this afternoon. Thankfully, my dad taught me you don't fully mix finances, so my savings wasn't capable of being touched, and while it's not a lot, it's enough to pay for the fees over the next few weeks. I don't have any family left, so I think he's doing a power play to make me feel like I'm alone and need him, when in all reality it's lit a fire under my ass that I don't want or need such a garbage person in my life. Update 2. I was not allowed to change the locks on our house due to both of our names being on it. I never feared for my safety, it was more so an annoyance. He showed up to grab some personal belongings, and I thought that would be the most that would happen. It was like he was trying to get a reaction from me. He told me he transferred funds and emptied out the account. I didn't believe him until I saw it myself. That was both of our money, so that's being dealt with currently. He showed up the day before yesterday completely drunk, begging to talk, increasing in anger when I would just ignore him and walk away. It kept increasing, so I went to grab my bag and walk down the road to a neighbor's home so I wasn't alone. He grabbed my arm to stop me, and when I yanked it away, he slapped me, almost a backhanded open slap. The cops were called. I didn't have a mark on my face, so it was my word versus his. They escorted him off the property, and I'm only now assuming he's back with his parents now. He did throw a fit about the dogs and does have proof of ownership, so I'm guessing he'll be able to take them. Went to leave to go for a drive to clear my head after everything and realized 3 of my 4 tires were flat. I know it was him, but I don't have proof. Insurance won't cover it, so going to a tire shop on Friday morning. Just another drop in the bucket. As for the attorney, I've had my consult and I'm waiting for my check to come in for my actual appointment and getting the ball moving on this. There's not any family left, and a few close friends are kept in the loop, but I don't want to burden them or treat them like unpaid therapists, so I think that's why I came back to Reddit. Something therapeutic about just typing it all out into the void. The baby/pregnancy is okay. I've actually lost weight, and the doctor has told me to avoid stressful situations and to take things easy. I'll be calling to see if I can change the locks on the home now, and if not, I'm going to start looking for places. Update 3. He broke in late last night. I was able to contact the police before I confronted him, but due to location I knew it would be a bit. I tried walking by him to leave the house, but every time I would, he'd shove me, once hard enough to make me stumble and fall backwards. The eerie part is he never once yelled through things. One of the items hit me, causing an emergency room visit requiring stitches. Said the most vile things. He hated me, I should kill myself, how useless I was, etc., yet never once raised his voice. I'm not saying that in a good way. I wish he would have yelled. It was a fight or flight instinct, and I found out mine was to freeze. I hate that for myself. He was arrested and his mother already bailed him out. Him staying at a hotel thanks to a work advance and looking into apartments. I won't be stepping a foot into that home we shared until my best friend is here, and even then it will be with police being with us. Nobody can figure out what made him change almost overnight. Only thing I'm guessing is a psychotic break, but I'm not a therapist or doctor. Besides some ugly bruises and some stitches, myself and the baby are fine. My lawyer feels like this is enough to get a protection order for myself and will include the pregnancy/baby. Next time I see him will be at court. Sorry I'm rambling and maybe this doesn't make any sense. For now I'm safe, can sleep good for the first time in weeks. I have the dogs. Nobody is aware of where I am besides one close person, and the police. Final update: I changed my locks, figured if he'd get the law involved I'd use pregnancy brain and being forgetful to give him a spare set. Update 4. Police met me at my home to grab some personal belongings and pretty much anything and everything else I could grab. Thanks to the user who recommended me calling the non-emergency number, it was smooth sailing. He wasn't home. I didn't have the fear of him showing up and both officers were very kind. What I walked into on the other hand was not very fun. This man looked like he went on a bender. Bleach on clothes, food everywhere, personal belongings just destroyed, especially the nursery. I was able to salvage a lot of the bigger items and packed what I could. They're now in storage until I move into my place. Took pictures, and as aggravating as it was, especially with the 1 step forward 2 steps back, I'm hopeful that there'll just be another thing used against him to prevent custody. As far as him, he has no way of contacting other than attorney or email, and it's been quiet on both ends. His parents have not reached out. I don't even know what I'd say to them if they tried, so no loss there. His girlfriend, yes girlfriend, as I found out, has been trying to contact me via friends to let me know she's pregnant. I'm unsure if that's true or not, but that in the very least confirms the affair and how well he kept things hidden. I do want to clear the air. I made a post asking for helpful information on resources that could potentially help, and someone made a comment saying I was in it for a long con, and that's just untrue. I have not and will not accept any personal items/donations other than advice and maybe an internet hug. Editor's note: Oop, deleted the post she is referencing. See comment below. While I wish my story was made up, it is not. Maybe it's a venting board, maybe it's just connecting with people that have been in the same situation, but it helps keep me sane. Anyway, I'll leave it at, thank you all for listening and checking up on me. I'm safe, I'm good. Pregnancy is the only thing kicking my ass, and I'll make sure to make a post in a few months letting y'all know she's here and that we made it. Bye for now. Oh, trust me, I'm having bad days with it, especially emotionally. I'm sure the hormones aren't helping. I've debated if I turned a blind eye and if there really weren't any red flags. I've had moments where I've missed him because it's not just a switch. We loved each other, or at least I loved him. This is a person I planned a future and had a past with. It's really just an emotional roller coaster, and that's okay. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to handle all of this, but I'm doing my best. I'm not asking for money, and I'm sorry if it came across that way. I can provide proof and anything else. I've had multiple people reach out and ask if they could help, and I've always turned it down. The only thing I'm asking is for someone to point me in the way of an organization that I may not know of. If that's coming across as that way, though, I can and will delete my post. It wasn't my intention. Update 5. More than a few have offered baby items, groceries and gift cards. I cannot in good will accept any of those, but if you have items laying around, please consider donating them to a charity that helps homeless parents. One thing that stuck out is someone asked how I could feel sorry for him. I guess I'm an empathic person, to the point where it could be a flaw. I wish if he was so unhappy he would have just told me. We could have fixed it before it became violent, and if it wasn't fixable we could have both been amazing parents. His girlfriend that reached out wrote an email in which was forwarded to me. She's saying she's pregnant, and for her sake I hope she's not. She's accusing me of ruining a good man's reputation. She called the injuries self-inflicted and how they want a paternity test. My personal favorite was if my baby is actually his. She hopes her baby can grow up with her and have a sister. Little does she know I will go to hell and back to make sure that man does not know anything about my daughter. As for him, I've seen him once while leaving the grocery store. Outside me was calm, cool, collected, acted like he was a stranger I wouldn't give a second look at. On the inside I said oh shit about 500 times and cried in the car. Money situation is fixed, work bonus and promotion. I've bought a new and better living room suite and having a painting party at the end of the month. You're all invited. BTW. Still good, still safe, slowly learning to love my new normal. If you're in a similar situation or in an abusive relationship, man or woman, reach out. You're not alone. You don't need to be brave, I'm certainly not. You just need that I can't do this anymore to light that fire. Update 6. Hi. It's been a while since I've posted. Last time I posted I had swollen ankles, waddled, thought every little cramp was a contraction and felt like life was fallen apart. I want to thank everyone who reached out even months after the fact just to check in on a stranger. My daughter is here. For privacy I'm going to leave out her dob, but she was 6 pounds 2 ounces and the most beautiful head of hair I've seen. She's now got the hairstyle of Danny DeVito. My original posts are still up in case anyone is looking at this with puzzlement. But to say things have been rough would be an understatement. He showed up to the hospital. Thankfully everyone was aware and hospital staff handled it properly and perfectly, and I was able to focus on labor and delivery. Unfortunately the stress of that alone took an already hectic moment in time and amped it up, but things could have been so much worse and I'm highly thankful they were not. Right now I've got about 10 different CPS calls. They've came to my house on 4 occasions. His family and him have filed for an emergency custody hearing, and due to leaving the state with my daughter, that did give him a foot in the door. It seems the protective order isn't really helping in that matter. I am still on maternity leave, so thankfully my focus has fully been on my daughter, and collecting all the evidence to make sure he doesn't get any custody other than possibly supervised visits for an hour. My main concern is if he doesn't get any custody that his parents may do the grandparent route. I wish it was an update to say I'm kicking motherhood's ass and taking names, but most of the time I feel like a burnt out blob. I am in therapy and the doctors are keeping an eye on postpartum depression, yet my doctor thinks a giant hemorrhoid, X, is the cause instead. Don't have an update on the girlfriend of his, have kept the dogs. I think they love the little one just as much as I do. I'm excited and anxious to see where the next chapter of life will take me. Now on to second story. Husband keeps spreading delusions about me, affecting our social circle, and I'm torn between exposing the truth and respecting his privacy. So my husband has been dealing with some major issues. We have not yet figured out what it is. But he has been dealing with certain delusions. For example, it all started 6 months ago when he was convinced he had caught me cheating because he found a document saying so on my laptop. When I arrived home and he tried looking for it to show me, he obviously couldn't find it. He is going to therapy, but as of right now, we are technically separated and living in different rooms. It's just because this keeps happening. A certain insecurity eats itself into my husband, and he becomes convinced that it's the truth. He either dreams proof or he just convinces himself that anything is proof. I'd quit he does with the therapist. But I honestly don't see it getting better. Last week, he was mad at our daughter, 15, because she didn't want him to drive her to prom and make pictures with her. When I went to ask her, she said that was not true. She had talked to her dad about what she would like to do when she graduates in 2 years. Her father just got really mad at the perceived sly. The problem is that he keeps talking to people about the issues. I was already wondering why so many mutuals stopped responding to me. But apparently, they all think I'm an awful human being and terrible spouse. I just want to tell people what is going on. Also, so they are aware that my husband is basically lying to them and for them to tell me delusions that he might be having that I don't know. But at the very beginning of his therapy, he begged me not to tell anyone because people would think he is crazy. My sister said that it would also be an asshole thing to do that would basically feed into his delusions. I just feel like I am done. Ida? Update 1. I took some time to process everything, and honestly, I was at my breaking point. The situation has escalated in ways I never imagined, and I've made some tough decisions. After I posted, things had to unravel quickly. About 5 months ago, when my husband's behavior first started escalating, I quietly consulted with a lawyer here. At that time, his delusions had begun to affect our daily lives, and I knew I needed legal advice. The divorce process requires a period of legal separation before the divorce can be finalized. We initiated this process, and I requested full custody of our 15-year-old daughter, given her increasing fear of her father. The court was also concerned and ordered a psychological evaluation for my husband to assess his mental fitness for parenting. A few weeks into the legal separation, my husband's paranoia worsened. He started placing Apple AirTags in my car and in our 15-year-old daughter's backpack, tracking our every move. My daughter was the one who found the AirTag in her bag and was terrified. When I confronted him, he insisted it was for our safety, but it was clear to me that his paranoia was spiraling out of control. This incident deeply affected our daughter, who began refusing to see her father. Around this time, my mother-in-law reached out to me. She was concerned because my husband had accused her of cheating on his father, something that was completely out of character for him. Phil didn't believe it for a second but was deeply worried about his state of mind. Her reaching out was a small but much-needed relief. She acknowledged that his behavior was erratic and offered her support, knowing that something was seriously wrong. My older daughter, 19, had also become involved in the situation. She had been quietly documenting her father's behavior for months. She recorded 3 different occasions where my husband went on delusive rants. The first was about how I'm supposedly cheating on him with one of my coworkers, a man I barely interact with. The second was about how our 15-year-old daughter was secretly dating someone older and lying to him about it. The third was about how the entire family was conspiring against him to make him look crazy. Watching these videos was heartbreaking, but they validated everything I'd been dealing with privately. Things escalated further when my husband almost attacked one of my colleagues. He had convinced himself that this man was the affair partner I was supposedly seeing behind his back. It took all my strength to physically separate them before the situation turned violent. As the legal process continued, my lawyer informed me that due to the severity of the situation and the psychological evaluation ordered by the court, my request for full custody was strongly considered. In Spain, courts typically prioritize the well-being of the child, and given my husband's mental state and the danger he posed, it seemed likely that I would be granted full custody of our 15-year-old daughter. She had made it clear that she didn't want to see her father, and the court was taking her wishes into account. In the midst of this, my 19-year-old daughter decided to take matters into her own hands. She posted the 3 videos she had recorded of her father's breakdowns on Instagram, along with a compilation of texts, photos, and other evidence she had collected over the past few months. Her intention was to show the world what we had been enduring, but it quickly turned into a public spectacle. The backlash was intense. Some people were horrified and reached out with sympathy and support, while others criticized us for airing dirty laundry and accused my daughter of betraying her father. As the divorce process continued, my husband's mental health became a significant factor. The psychological evaluation ordered by the court revealed the depth of his delusions, particularly around cheating and female sexuality. It became clear that he was not fit to make decisions regarding our daughter's well-being. The evaluation supported my claim for full custody, and the court is now in the process of finalizing that decision. In the meantime, all communicate between my husband and me is being handled through our lawyers, and I'm ensuring that any interaction between him and our 15-year-old daughter is supervised. Given the severity of the situation and the damage done to our lives, I'm making plans to move away with my daughter once the legal proceedings are finalized. My reputation in our current community is shattered, thanks to his delusions and the lies he has spread. Starting fresh somewhere new seems like the only way for us to heal and rebuild our lives. I never wanted it to come to this. I still care deeply for my husband, but I can't keep sacrificing our well-being for the sake of his image. The revelation that he's been lying to his therapist, or rather, his unqualified life coach, was a breaking point for me. I realized I couldn't trust him to get better on his own. Thankfully, some friends have started to see through his stories and are reaching out to support us, which gives me hope. But I know it's going to be a long, difficult road ahead. For anyone else in a similar situation, please know that you're not alone. This has been the hardest decision I've ever made, but sometimes you have to do what's best for your own mental health and safety, no matter how much it hurts. Update 2. Last week, my husband showed up at our home completely out of control. He wasn't supposed to be there, but he came without any warning, and right away, he started yelling. He was accusing me and our 15-year-old daughter of being against him, saying we were plotting to destroy him. He was furious. I tried to calm him down, but it just made him angrier. He started throwing things and shouting that we were ruining his life. Then, he turned on our daughter. He called her a whore and said she was supposed to be the good one, but she had turned against him too. He was moving toward her like he was going to hit her, and I got between them to protect her. That's when he shoved me so hard I hit the wall, and he slapped me, across the face. I was stunned, but he didn't stop. He grabbed my throat and started strangling me. I fought back, scratching and biting to get him off me. Meanwhile, my daughter managed to call the police while this was happening. She was terrified, but she stayed on the phone with them, begging for help. When the police arrived, they arrested him right away. He's now facing charges for domestic violence, and the court has put a restraining order in place. I can't even explain how scary that moment was, but I'm just glad my daughter was able to call for help. I don't know what would have happened otherwise. The legal process is moving quickly now, especially after the violence. The court has ordered a psychiatric evaluation to see if he's fit to even be around our daughters, let alone have visitation rights. At this point, I'm expecting full custody of my 15-year-old. She's been through so much, and she doesn't want to see her father anymore, even if it's supervised. I think the court will honor that, especially given everything that has happened. On top of all of this, the videos my 19-year-old daughter posted online have continued to spread. A lot of people have reached out with their own stories about the things my husband told them, things I didn't even know he had said. It's hard to hear, but it's also helping me understand just how bad it was. Some of the delusions he had included, he thought I was part of a secret group plotting to harm him. He believed our 19-year-old was spying on him for me. He thought our 15-year-old was trying to poison him by putting something in his food. He said his mother was having an affair with her best friend. He told his father that I hired a private investigator to follow him. He thought a family friend was trying to take over his business. He said one of my close friends was in love with me and trying to help me leave him. He told neighbors that I was going to sell our house and leave him with nothing. He believed my boss was helping me hide money in offshore accounts. He thought our daughters were hiding secret phones and communicating behind his back. He accused me of manipulating our children to turn them against him. He said his sister was trying to steal his inheritance. He believed I had hidden cameras in the house to watch him. He accused me of using witchcraft to control his mind. He thought I was planning to flee the country with our daughters. It's been overwhelming to hear how far his paranoia went. Some friends have apologized and now understand what was really happening, but others still believe his stories, and that's been hard. I'm not sure how to fix all the relationships that were damaged by this. I've also been getting a lot of questions about what has happened with my daughter's therapy and the divorce process, so I'll explain a bit. At first, we had to put my daughter into telehealth because we were waiting for an in-person spot with the therapist we were referred to by our doctor. It took some time to get that set up and approved, but now she's seeing someone regularly, and it's been helping. As for the divorce, it could have been simple, but my husband has turned it into a high-conflict situation. I've been so frustrated with how slow it's been going, especially because it didn't need to be like this. But because of everything he's done, the courts have had to be more careful, and it's taking longer than expected. I'm only communicating with him through lawyers now. Once everything is done, I plan to move with my 15-year-old to start over somewhere else, away from all of this. That's where things stand now. It's been a horrible, painful experience, but I'm doing my best to keep my daughters safe and make sure we can move forward.